Test. Test. Well, we got one that works. All right. Well, it is 7:03. If you will join me saying the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, reviewing our housekeeping items as we do every week, every month. Board, when speaking, please move close to the microphone, and when you do that, we'll find out when they do start to work. And for those that will speak at the microphones, the stand-up microphone, please make sure you stand close to it. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections, and would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. For the record, Policy 2.0 has specific guidelines for citizens addressing the board and its individual members. No name calling or personal attacks, no shouting, abusive, threatening, or disparaging language will be accepted. Engaging in this type of conversation will require the supervisor to request the individual to return to their seat. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comments section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between the citizens and board members. We have township business to conduct, and it is required that we do that effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. As a side note, my board comments will include an update on the M88 petition. Moving to the next item, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. The first one will be the regular board meeting of September 21st, 2021. Board, do you have any comments or changes? All right.
Page 2. Your new business. Number 3. Middle of the sentence, paragraph where it says word different from last month's resolution. Take the word months out of there and just leave it last resolution, because it was several many months ago.
So take months out.
Take months out.
All right.
And that's all I have.
Any other comments? If there's no comments, I will make the motion to approve the September 21st, 2021 regular board meeting minutes as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of September 21st, 2021 as presented with changes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We have a second meeting, which was our special board meeting of October 8th, 2021. This was our policy meeting. Are there any comments? Hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the October 8th, 2021 regular special board meeting. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of October 8th, 2021. All in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. Moving to the next item is correspondence and announcements. Kathy, do we have anything?
particularly, but I can. Okay, in terms of correspondence, we are still receiving emails and phone voicemails in regard to the Dollar Store General issue. So that one has not gone away. We are still hearing from the community about that. And then also, is this when I do my FOIA, my good FOIA stuff? No, later? Okay. And that's all I have for correspondence at this point in time.
All right, thank you, Kathy. The next is yours, Jason, for the Planning Commission.
Are we skipping down to this?
Did I skip one? What did I skip?
We're still up
Oh,
here.
all
We're
right.
still agenda.
Sorry. Trying to move quickly tonight. So, any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I make the motion that the agenda is accepted as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we will now move to citizen comment.
Can I request that you take the ambulance from the consent calendar and put it under the number 11 with the auto lift thing, all in one discussion, so I can do it all at the same time? Because I have an update for you on the report that I sent you, a couple items that we had requested, and I got them for you.
So why don't we make the ambulance report to the consent, and we cover this regular at the same time, so that way we'll have the information on it.
And then I can get your updates at the same time, too. Okay, great, thanks.
Oh, that's the only thing you had to say?
All right. Any other citizen?
Sheets out front to do public comment period. Hi, this is Deb Graber, 1227 Beech Nut Lane, Keewaydin. I just wanted to follow up on the Freedom of Information Act request that I submitted to this board last month at this time. I asked for a FOIA on Jason Merchant's outburst at the September 14th Planning Commission meeting. I just wanted to know what social media website he reviewed. I was denied the request because it stated there was no record, that record does not exist. So Jason was really upset at the September 14th meeting. I mean, really upset. So there was no website, there's no social media content, so that was untruthful. That was a staged event. I don't know. But if there was no website, no social media, you stated you saw something on social media that day, but when I FOIA'd it, you had no response. Also, I FOIA'd the zoning administrator to find out if Timothy Bays at the Torchport Air Park has applied for anything, to build anything, construct anything at the Torchport Air Park. He has not applied to do anything at the Torchport Air Park. He has 16-acre commercial lot at the end of Nichols Road. He could do 16, 20 hangars if he wanted to. So the comments that have been coming up at the board meetings seem to be lacking fact in some cases. So I just want to make sure that everybody's getting the same information. But my FOIA request extracted that Timothy Bays has not asked for any type of construction to be done at the air park. Now, he did ask to, he does have a permit written and signed by the assistant zoning administrator and by the zoning administrator to destruct the house and garage by the road, but that has no posting on the street or at the site that those two structures are going to be torn down. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Hayes. I live at 10682 Cedar Ridge. It's actually Central Lake, but I just want to take a moment of your guys' time. I recently joined the Three Lakes Board. There was an opening for the Torch Lake Township, so I accepted that position as a zone director for this area for Three Lakes. So if there's anything that I can do to support you guys or anything, help on the lake or any of that kind of stuff, I just wanted to let you know who I am and that I'm now going to represent you guys, I guess, or this area for Three Lakes Association. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, Sharon. Randy Bishop, 11089 Wood Special Drive. I presented my Freedom of Information Act request on September 21st, acknowledged by the clerk on the 22nd. Due to the volume of information I had requested, she asked for a 10-day business day extension. That expired last week, October 12th. Township is now in violation of my FOIA request. So I was kind of hoping you would had allowed her to speak on her FOIA requests during the agenda item as the way it's listed, but now I have to wait to the end of the meeting to find out. Very disturbed to find that members of this township getting reimbursed for their cell phones don't provide monthly detailed reports of those cell phone records. For as long as you've been getting that reimbursement, the taxpayers are entitled to see those cell phone bills if requested. I have requested Alan Martell's cell phone records that he's been reimbursed for, and now he's going to try to claim that he's having problems from his cell phone service company. I'm not buying it, and neither is my attorney. Also, there is a situation with his email. Understand that supposedly he's been using his supervisor's account for his personal emails. I want to warn the township to make sure those are included because they are now part of my FOIA request. Even though they're his personal emails, they were generated through his supervisor's account. And one final thing I'd like to say in public comment, the taxpayers are entitled to all emails, even those from the corporate attorney. If redactions need to be made with regards to any specific legal advice that should not be in the best interest of the public knowing about it, that's fine. But the emails themselves should still be included in the FOIA request. Thank you.
All right, board, next is consent agenda. Any reports that people want to pull out? We'll take out the ambulance. Any others? I have none. None. All right, then by consent, all the other reports are accepted. And Mike, we'll let you do the ambulance report now. See, that was quick.
Thank you, Bob. There's a couple items on the ambulance report. I sent a report that's pretty brief, a synopsis of different items, and I break it down into 4 items, but I give it to the board every month. But I had a couple items that I didn't get my stats back in time for this report. The one stat that I wanted to share with the board is that currently we're at 138 runs for the year, from April 1st to now. Last year, we were at about 142 for the full year. So we're quite a ways ahead, and we're going to still run till April yet. So we're way ahead of the ball game in regards to runs. And that, a lot of it has to do with mutual aid. When Beller's out on a call, then a call comes into Central Lake and we'll go there. But in the board packet, they get a report from where we go to on all mutual aid calls. The month of September was way down. We only had 14 calls. The other thing I want to talk about was the revenue. And we had an opportunity to meet with Acumed, the biller, and Bob and I met with her a couple weeks ago, and Ted. And we had, so far, we've collected 33,000, and we have projected 60,000 for April 1 to April 1. And based on the latest billing that I've got, and we'll be getting a check here shortly, Sharon, will be a total of $53,209. So we will be ahead of the ball game, but I don't think it'll be that way next year because we're still collecting from past bills that they've had difficulty getting. And then I wanted to let you know that in the report that Ted, who's our station manager, is currently heading up to Marquette tomorrow morning for an EMS leadership conference. It's specific for EMS leadership. So he'll be going up there for 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the AccuLift, or the power lift, the AccuCheck power lift. We have one of our ambulances that's currently down, and the other one does not have that power lift in it. The power lift is a tool that is used to be able to lift the cot power, electric by battery, and you don't have to lift 150 pounds. It will do it automatically and then go on the rig automatically, basically. It's a back saver. And we all know in the paramedic and EMS and nursing world, back issues are high cost to townships, EMS agencies, etc. So with our other rig down for the past 60 days with a problem that's been very difficult to get at, we've had to use the backup rig, which is about the same kind as the other rig. That's our primary response rig, but it doesn't have the auto lift in it. And we had a minor injury with that. So I asked the supervisor, and I'm asking the board tonight, to purchase the auto lift, which is about $24,000, but $24,000 compared to what you pay for insurance when somebody gets injured on the job is a huge savings. So I've put that on asked the supervisor to put it on the agenda, and he did. So I'm asking for approval of that auto lift, which is around 25, I think it is. And so the reason why we're getting that is because it does prevent injuries. And then the other thing is that you have two ambulances out here, and they both have about 45,000 miles on them, but the one sits all the time. So we want to rotate them so that they get used. And so in order to do that, we need the auto lift in the other one too, so that we can rotate them and not worry about injuries because we don't have it. Those cots are made to hold 350 pounds worth of weight. And so you put 150 plus 350, that's a lot of weight. These auto lifts can lift up to 500 to 600 pounds, and they are a huge lifesaver. And they actually go real low too. They go down on the ground so that if you have to move a body, you don't hurt your back moving the body. So that's my report. Thank you.
You might just add that the backup ambulance is about 3 inches higher.
Oh, that's right. That is correct. It's 3 inches higher. 3 inches can make a big difference when you're lifting somebody. So yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, it is transferable. We just got a new ambulance at TAA for $250,000. We took the auto lift out of the old one and put in the new one. You bet.
All right, thanks, Mike. Mike Strange, any luck with the speakers?
No, I don't think it's back here. It must be next up there.
start?
Yep,
Got it.
it's starting.
There was one line disconnected back here.
Hello?
Yep.
Yep, I think.
Test.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
All
are.
right. Alan, want to check
Yes.
yours?
Can you hear me?
Check.
All right.
Oh, I took it up there.
I will make the motion to accept the uh, ambulance report. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll move on to the next. All right. Jason, we'll start with you on the planning commission.
Well, last week's meeting was pretty short. Tim Bays has withdrawn his application, so that meeting went pretty fast. And we're still having meetings on the moratorium. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, your FOIA.
So as of 9/24, we have received 6 new FOIA requests. And we're having, in essence, of those, they've all been fulfilled except for the one Randy was referring to. And Randy, just to clarify, or to everybody, just to clarify, when you receive a FOIA, you have 5 days to respond to the FOIA. Then you can also ask for an additional 10 days to respond. So in essence, we're given 15 days to respond. That does not mean provide what is being asked for. It means to respond, yes, we will fulfill your FOIA, no, we won't, or we will fulfill it partially. So I believe Randy should have gotten, yes, we will. And what's happened is, since the content was quite large, it took a while to get that request back from our tech company. And they're stating that there are about 20,000 emails that we are going to receive, and we are needing to go through and redact them before we go any further. So Randy, it's almost there, but not complete yet. And then that was it for FOIAs, other than, like I said, the one for Randy, and they're now ready for that. I have nothing else
Kathy?
about FOIAs.
Kathy,
Yes, sir.
you have a FOIA from Bob Spencer with regard to any emails with regard to Barbara Boudreaux's. I'm waiting for my emails to get those emails for Bob Spencer as well.
Okay.
So that's part of that whole
Okay.
package.
Well, you could, since those would be the emails currently, in the current year, you have those, that they're not on your old supervisor. So you could go out and research those on your own at this point.
How?
Well, it's in your emails.
They're not in my email that I have is
Is it?
as a trustee.
Yeah, Alan Martell, that
But-
would have been,
Well, I can look for those, but we also had emails when I was supervisor, when I recommended her for appointment. Those are in the,
that wasn't his request. His request was specific to the item that was on the agenda back in June, which was the $300 payment. So those are that's the time frame
Is
that
that
he is
correct, Bob?
requesting.
only that? I thought it was
Yes.
all of them.
Go ahead, Bob. All right, so you would have that under your Alan Martell
Okay.
email.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for the correction.
All right. Anything else, board? If not, then I'll move on to the finance overview. Tom, I'm not taking, you can make a board, citizen comment after, please. That's fine. We'll take it as board comment at the end. As indicated in the past, the detailed financial report is on the website. Any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. We are halfway through our fiscal year and are well positioned financially. The treasurer's report indicates the balance in the general fund of $965,000, for the fire fund $399,000, and the ambulance fund $390,000. Year-to-date expenses have been running below budget for all three funds. The driver is primarily capital expenditures, and costs for the day park were below, though we will be spending money on some improvements for the park. For each of the funds, I am pushing the various groups to get the items purchased, since at budget time, they were itemized as being critical in their capital account. We will begin receiving the December tax payments, and based on a rough estimate of October, November expenses, we should be positioned to have healthy reserves in all three accounts. And that is the financial overview. Again, it's out on the website if you want to look at it.
Very detailed, Bob. Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda for board action. We have no old business. So we will start going through the motions. We have 13 items, board. You've had 3.5 days to look them over. So I will make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for creation of parking spaces at the Nature Preserve, and the approval of one bid for this contract of $6,840 as presented by the Deputy Supervisor. TBNP will pay $5,000 and Torch Lake Township Capital Fund will provide the balance of $1,840. Do I have a second? Thank you. The motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for creation of parking spaces at the Nature Preserve, and the approval of one bid for this contract of $6,840 as presented by the Deputy Supervisor. TPNP will pay $5,000 and Torch Lake Township Capital Fund will provide the balance of $1,840. It's been moved and seconded. I'll start out the discussion. As the board may recall, I have been working with TBNP to eliminate the parking of cars on the beach, but providing for additional parking by the existing parking spaces just east of the beach. Working with the key parties involved, we now have made the beach area a fire lane, undertaken to prepare the necessary amendment to the preserve agreements, and identified an area to provide an additional 10 parking spaces with minimal impact to the environment. The TBNP has agreed to pay the $5,000 of costs, with the township chipping in the balance, and we will pay some of the legal fees associated with the amendment, which I estimate to be somewhere around $500. Your support for this project is appreciated. Any other discussion? Yes, Sharon?
I think that's Fund 508. So we're looking at TB, Torch Bay Nature Preserve improvements line item, correct?
Correct.
So we will need to do a budget amendment to reflect that, also with the prior work done out there with the trails and so forth. So we're going to look at about a $7,000 budget amendment to that fund.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Will any of this prevent the parking on the beach?
What we're hoping for, because we've got to try to figure out the enforcement beginning in the summer, but we're hoping that it will minimize the stuff on the beach, that the word will get out that it's a $500 fine and it's a towing away zone. We're hopeful that with the extra 10 spots, people will just drop their stuff off at the beach and then park there. And if not, we will start ticketing. In fact, I think our fire chief has already issued one ticket. So We will be working to enforce that and ensure that at least the beach area is clear. Any other discussion? If-
Just one, and this is, we didn't do this one with bids?
No, that's why the motion said one contract.
And why not?
Well, I'll let the deputy supervisor address that.
To answer that specific question, Alan, the reason is because most people won't even call you back and or tell you flat out they have absolutely positively no interest in bidding. They can't get to it this year or even next year.
Who did you talk to?
I talked to Dick Ellison and I talked to Avery Excavating out of Williamsburg.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm just gonna stay-
Yeah, you might as well.
wait.
Would you like a chair?
No.
All right. Any other discussion?
Well, the only one thing I noticed too, if we go through these, many of these are all with Drought Excavating, which is no longer George Drought, but his son. Why do they have so much time?
They live in the township. Most of their workers live in the township. Their business is based in the township, and they are willing to work with the township as they have been for years as a vendor of this township. They do our snow removal, etc. So they are trying very hard to be a good neighbor, a good stewardess here in the township. And as far as with the rising prices of fuel and whatnot, especially in the excavating world, the closer somebody is, the better.
Yeah, I'm not questioning their ability. I mean, that's been a very good company. Okay, thank you.
All right, Kathy, would you conduct the roll call vote, please?
Yes, I will. Bob Cook, please.
Yes?
Mr. Merchant.
Yes.
I'll put that down for him.
Yep.
Alan,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
and Kathy, yes. So
Yes
that
again.
motion passes 5-0.
All right, we'll move on to item number 2. I will make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for cemetery drainage work and the approval of one bid for this contract of $10,983 as presented by the deputy supervisor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for cemetery drainage work and the approval of one bid for this contract of $10,983 as presented by the deputy supervisor. Bill, I'll let you lead off with this one.
When we put our last addition onto the cemetery, which would be, I guess, what you consider the north addition, there was an old drain system right at the intersection to the old part and the new north part. And that drain system, for whatever reason, collapsed, got taken out, you name it. I spent some time there with Gary Mortensen, and we tried to locate and see how much of that old system would be salvageable if we could tie back onto it. With the flash rain events that we've had this summer, it's actually created quite the sinkhole and plugged that entire 12-inch line going down to the ditch. So, in talking with several individuals, including Gary, we came up with this plan that is being proposed tonight. Before, there was only one area to collect water. This new system would be 2 areas, and not just the 2 surface areas, but also connectors underground to get groundwater itself into this pipe. To help alleviate some of the concerns from the neighboring properties across the street that we've had issues with in the past, we're simply going to run this new system to daylight, not all the way into the county ditch. And what that will enable us to do is, as that water comes out of the backside of our cemetery and through those pipes, it will run out onto property that we currently own, give it a chance to soak in and filter before it ever gets to the county road right of way, helping to cut down on erosion concerns, etc., from the property owners across the street.
Any questions for Bill?
Thank you, Bill, because I was out there with you helping get this spearheaded, get this thing going. This is long overdue, and I think their plan is to get it done this fall here yet.
Yes, the hope is if the board approves it tonight, I'll make the call in the morning. They'll place the order for all of the components. Some of the components are stuck in supply chain.
Yeah.
The second that they would arrive, we would get out there and get that done, hopefully before the ground froze this fall. But that is our goal, since snow melt in the spring is usually the biggest source of contention with drainage in that cemetery. So the goal is, if it's approved tonight, get it done ASAP. But I need everybody to realize that with the supply chain, we can't do it missing one or two pieces. We've got to have it all.
Got it.
And that comes out of capital outlay 101-901-975-030.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no other comments, then Kathy, would you make a roll call vote, please?
I will. I have Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Kathy says yes, and Bob.
Yes.
So that's a 5-0 approved motion.
Thank you, board. Item number 3. I make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for Day Park Capital Improvement Road Work and the approval of one bid for this contract of $11,644 as presented by the Deputy Supervisor. Do I have a second? Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for Day Park Capital Improvement Road Work and the approval of one bid for the contract of $11,644 as presented by the Deputy Supervisor. Bill?
Now, this work, however, will not get done this fall. This work is for first thing in the spring. The reason why we brought it to the board tonight is so that we can price lock this bid. If the board approves it tonight, the work can be done in the spring. They will honor today's price. As everyone I'm sure is well aware of, fuel is going through the roof and all other things are soon to follow, groceries, materials, etc. So in this, we're going to take all of the existing roads that are there, remove the old humps and whatnot that have over time worn into the centers, put 2 inches all the way through the existing part of the cemetery of Afton, roll it, pack it, it'll
Cemetery.
look
Cemetery.
what did I say?
You said cemetery.
No.
Yeah.
Run the day park?
Yeah, that's what I read.
No, because it says right here, cemetery road work.
Yeah.
Unless Bob's jumping items on me here.
Yeah, I may have, Bill.
I'm trying to
did.
Now,
think.
come on
But
now.
that's all right. But
I'm
now
trying to
you-
think.
you've
This
already
doesn't
said that one.
tally. This doesn't sound
I
right. to me.
practiced
All right,
in front of
so-
the mirror for hours.
So let's do that one.
Number 3.
Yep. I jumped ahead. My apologies, Bill. Well, that's all right.
Start
It's
from
the
the
same
beginning.
guy. So we're good to go.
Cemetery drainage, cemetery.
So we'll
road.
take-
Sound right to me.
So we'll take the day park and
Wait a minute.
Well-
What am I talking about?
we'll skip back to the cemetery. So I'll withdraw my motion. If the second will withdraw their second. All right, and I will read the other motion. That's fine. It just proves I'm not
So all
perfect.
I saw was drought, so that's. as
All
far as I
right,
went.
so we will do the cemetery road work, which is item number 3. I will make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for cemetery road work and the approval of one bid for this contract of $24,162 as presented by the Deputy Supervisor. Do I have a second for this? Thanks,
Wait.
Lisa.
Okay, now I'm confused.
Okay, go to number 4.
It's 4.
Yeah.
Cemetery
All right.
Road.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for cemetery road work and the approval of one bid for the contract of $24,162 as presented by the deputy supervisor. Bill, do you have anything to add to your prior comments?
It also includes the building of the road for the north addition that was never completed.
Yes.
So it will continue that loop all the way through. In
Yeah,
addition to the,
yes.
yes.
That section is beginning to get filled up, or, so anything happening now with cemetery procession can only go down, and they have to all back all the way up. There's no road there at all. So this is critical to get done years ago.
This would be in our 2022 budget.
22 budget, but approval tonight so that
Right.
they will honor the price for the spring.
All right. Any other questions on this one?
And they know all the specs go all the way around.
And they will work with Gary and myself on the way
There's
around.
two
Gary offered to stake it
cemetery
yesterday. I told him, I
drainage.
guess, that we're gonna do it this spring, and so that's the time we'll stake it.
I'm gonna be watching my eye on this one.
Look forward.
All right. Any other?
Cemetery.
If there's no other discussion, then for item
Cemetery
number 4.
I guess, yeah, let's see. My
You
comments
go
on
for it.
here were guaranteed till next year, spring, question mark.
Yep.
And amendment budget, we'll have the budget done in regards to this. So
Correct.
that's all my comments I had in my notes, so. thank
All right.
you.
So Kathy, would you
Okay.
start a roll call vote?
Just making sure we're on item 4, road
Yep.
work for the
Yep.
cemetery. All right, Sharon,
Yes,
Kathy votes yes. Bob,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and that motion is approved 5-0. That was number 4.
So now we'll go backwards to number 3.
do they need the pause on that?
Now we're going
No,
back
they-
to number 3.
They didn't want a deposit.
Okay.
Okay, number 3.
I will make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for Day Park Capital Improvement Road Work and the approval of one bid for this contract of $11,644 as presented by the deputy supervisor. Do I have a second?
Jay, you have to, because I already wrote your name.
Thanks, Jason. All right, it's been moved and seconded to make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Drought Excavating for Day Park Capital Improvement Road Work and the approval of one bid for the contract of $11,644 as presented by the deputy supervisor. Bill?
Okay, the goal of this is twofold. Number one, we have 3 existing entrances into the day park. The furthest west one, which is right up by the upper pavilion. We have one right down next to the bathrooms, and we have one just across the septic tanks as you go towards Torch Lake. Some problems and concerns that have arisen are the cars that are pulling in there at rate of speed, and then they're literally driving right past the bathroom doors. It wouldn't take much for a kid to pop out of there and get hit by a car. In doing some research back when the park was planned out, this proposed road tonight is actually in those plans. The goal here is to utilize our existing farthest west entrance as a one-way entrance into the park, thus driving along the upper pavilion, taking the natural slope that is already existing down into the parking lot, doing away with our current main entrance that runs right alongside of those bathrooms, reclaiming some of that gravel out of the ditch, putting it back to natural area, and having one-way exit as our current third driveway stands now, is making that the current exit out of there. If people need to pull down and just use the restroom, they'll be traveling at a much lower rate of speed, as it will then become the dead end part of the parking lot right by the bathroom doors. Also, currently, we've got a larger dumpster in that dumpster area, and the garbage truck is having to drive across the grass to retrieve that. So we're gonna build a gravel pad going to that. So if you go by there lately, especially as wet as it's been, there's some pretty good ruts in the grass from him having to drive out there and pick that up. So we'll give him a nice gravel path to get out there and get it. Also in this is currently there is an old decrepit set of steps that goes from the upper pavilion down to the restrooms. Thing is served its time for many years, but it's becoming a death trap. So what we're gonna do is take that out and put a nice angled approach naturally through there where clean up some brush and whatnot that's in the trees now. Put some topsoil on it and grass seed it. No need for a handrail. No need to redo those steps. And that way people that are using the upper pavilion that do need to go to the restroom have a nice, safe way to do it. We'll be able to run the lawnmower up and down it and keep it natural.
All right, any questions for Bill on this one?
So you said you're not removing the stairs?
No, we are removing the
Yeah.
stairs.
Okay,
And we'll let that little area go back to natural. And there is one area there that with minimal work of getting brush and stuff out of there, we'll be able to make a nice gradual,
okay,
non-handrail, non-step way to get for people to get down the restroom.
all right, all
So
right.
that, yes, we need to get rid of those steps or fix them, get rid of them. So the angle of that isn't taking away any usage of the top part for picnic tables or anything either. It'll slope, actually will enhance it probably.
Exactly.
So, and then there'll be some parking at the top up there for that second pavilion area
Yeah,
too?
the parking will remain up at the top where it is currently.
Okay,
But yeah, I wish it was out tonight, but when you look at the original plan when
Right.
Mr. Good purchased the park,
Mhm.
it clearly shows the future construction of that road down through the park, down in that.
and there'll be signs eventually put up around,
Yeah, but basically the day park committee has to take a look at doing away with the current signage, moving it up to the new entrance, announcing that it is one way. And then they're also talking about planting some trees along the new road going down through there. So over time, it'll become a little tunnel of trees, so to speak, going down into the parking lot, helping us slow the traffic.
some of those old trees along the roadway can, and those are really old and they lose a lot of limbs constantly in these
Well,
storms.
we've over the past few years had to take a lot of trees out of that park. My goal next year is to put some back in.
When I was down there, Bob Person said he used to plant those trees when he was a little boy. And that was a long time ago. So, great. Then I can see that prohibiting cars in front of that bathroom door, which has always been a bad thing. So now the only other question I have, amendment, we have to do amendment to the budget. Is this going to be done when? Is this sooner?
That's kind of the board's, the board, and at least from talking to Bob, I think that the preserve work is going to be the priority as well as the secondary drainage. This work will more than likely then have to get done in the spring.
And it will be guaranteed too. So that was my part with question. I'm not sure what fund, safety control or ground maintenance or I guess.
Well,
what
this would be a capital. We could use the capital. We had like 16,000 budgeted there.
Okay.
And so I think if we can get it
Capital out of
done.
101,
I'm sorry, in 101.
101,
Well,
okay.
yeah, 101 for the day
756.
park. So it would have been
Okay, day
the
park. Okay.
capital improvement account
Okay.
for that. So I think that's where that would get booked.
All right.
And so if it's possible to get it done this year, that would allow that road to set up for the winter. So see what you can do on that, Bill.
I can see what I can do. A lot of business more than
Yep. All right. Any other comments, Alan?
No.
All right. Hearing none,
I
Kathy.
do have one. Bill,
You always do this to me.
when we looked at that grading on that, at the time we were setting up some handicap parking in there that required a particular grade. That's something you may want to look into if you haven't.
down by the bathrooms there.
By the bathrooms as well as toward the pavilion, the lower pavilion.
All right, Kathy, conduct a roll call vote,
I
please.
will. Jason is first.
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bob
Yes.
and Alan.
Yes.
That motion is approved, 5-0.
All right.
That was number 3, right?
Yep.
And
All right.
4.
I will
So we're up to
reiterate my
5.
apologies for screwing this up. So we'll now go to 5, and we're back on track. I will make the motion to approve the contract proposal by Global Asphalt for the CSB pavement work and the approval of one bid for this contract of, I believe, Bill, 40, is it 40 or 41,000?
40,150.
Okay, $40,150 as presented by the deputy supervisor. The contract, when we sign it, will be to lock in the price for the work to be done in 2022. The contract was on your desk when you came in. I didn't get it till late yesterday. So if you want some time to review it, Bill, you can walk us through it right now.
3 years ago, the board budgeted $60,000 to fix the pavement issues that we have over here on this side of the building. Those issues didn't get fixed, and now we have a couple of other issues, so we lumped everything in together into this bid here. So on the fire and EMS side, basically right where they come out of the doors, we're going to go from there all the way to the road and grind that entire existing asphalt out of there. That drain that's out by the road right now, the frost has pushed it up, and it's 4 inches above the rest of the pavement. There's no water can ever go down through there, and I'm sure droughts when they plow constantly hit it because it's literally sticking that far out of the pavement. So we're going to take that drain apart, set it back down at the proper level. All of that material that's there now that gets ground out will get mixed back with tar, put back down, and then 2 more inches of asphalt will go over the top of it. So we're going to reinforce the base. There's also a couple of spots in there that we've talked about in the past that sink in the spring and so on and so forth. Those areas will get dug out, make sure there's plenty of gravel compacted down through there. All of this work is being guaranteed to be done so that it doesn't impede fire and EMS should a call come in. They're going to be able to do this one half, leaving one lane open for them to get to the street. Move over to the other half. Step 1, there'll be a 3 to 4 day wait period from when they grind it up and put that first layer down to when they come back and put the final layer over the top. But at no point in time will fire and EMS be impeded. Simply, they will just have to make an adjustment and point their vehicles out the back of the building rather than out the 31 side of the building while that's getting done. In looking things over right outside of our windows out here, there's a separation starting in the asphalt, and it's quite a long one. It's starting to pull apart, and we've even got grass and plants growing up through there now. That area will get fixed. The opposite thing has happened out here with this drain. The one on this side is raised 3-4 inches. This one is sunk.
Yeah.
So this side, we're going to cut a cube out of it, raise the drain up to where it should be, get that section back repaved.
Any questions for Bill?
This project's been on for 3-4 years.
It's
Minimum.
And none of this, there's no down payment needed if the board approves it tonight. It will be one of their first jobs, first thing in the spring, to be coordinated with fire, EMS, and everybody here. This is because in the asphalt world, prices are locked year to year. So if this
Right.
gets locked tonight, it doesn't get the upcoming, which
Right.
will probably be sizable cost increase for asphalt for 2022.
All right,
There's nothing
great.
to the backside at all. is
Nothing
there?
back from the backside.
Any other questions for Bill?
Comment.
You have a
I-
A
comment?
comment, yeah. The same that Sharon's implied. These are, all of these things that Bill is taking care of have been out there for a long time. And aren't we clever that we hired Bill to take care of all these things to get them done and not just pushed aside? So you're doing a great job on your research and your work with these, and I appreciate it. We all do, I know we do.
I think the original bid originally was over $100,000. We was at 60. I knew it was higher than that. And Bill, Bob, right, Bob? You were in part of that project too. I think it was over $100,000. So
All right, great.
All right.
Kathy?
I didn't get a motion made by, did you? Okay,
Yeah, I did. I made the motion.
did you?
Yeah. Jason?
Jason.
Seconded it. Yeah.
Wait, you can't make me laugh. That's the worst.
get it?
Don't make me laugh.
It is a long day. All right.
Okay, I get to start this one. I say yes. Bob,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Jason. Positively. And Sharon?
yes.
So that motion is approved 5-0.
Good. I think you're all set.
You doing the road?
Yeah, I'll start out with the road and then
here just a
he's a good guy to have as a backup. All right. I will make the motion to approve resolution 2021-28 to establish the road millage at 1 mil per year for 5 years, beginning in 2022 through 2026 inclusive. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, the motion has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2021-28 to establish the road millage at 1 mil per year for 5 years, beginning in 2022 through 2026 inclusive. So I will lead the discussion on this one. Our last millage expires in December of 2021. Therefore, it is critical that we get our millage proposal ready for our citizens to vote on it at the first available election. Historically, since fiscal year 2010-2011 through fiscal year 2018-2019, a period of 9 years, the township has spent $275,000. In 2019 and 2020, we spent $427,000. As the roads were needing repaired, and up to that point, nothing was being done, even though the millage was voted on in 2015. In your packet, you have 3 pages. The first page is a resolution, and Sharon will walk us through that if there are any questions from the board. Page 2 is an overview of our long-term strategy for the township roads. Page 3 is an overview of the roads by phase. In the past, our millage has been set up to maintain our roads rather than bring them up to a standard for a 25 to 35-year life cycle. From the first chart, we summarize the key facts associated with the current road ages. You can see that on the left-hand side under overview. Our 2-phase approach to managing the improvement process, which is the middle group, and finally the financing of the deal. It is a long-term strategy, for this is an important part of the township infrastructure. The 2-phase 10-year program will assume the worst case in that all roads will require reconstruction. Phase 1 takes us through 2025 and phase 2 runs through 2029. This millage is only for phase 1. Phase 2 has an assumption of going from 1 mil to 1.25 mil rate in the 26 to 29 timeframe. We do have some key assumptions. First, we estimate an overall price tag of $180,000 per mile for reconstruction for the 5-year period. The risk to this assumption is offset by 3 things. First, we achieve some cost savings by loading our order early with the county and get the advantage of their ability to get cost savings through the contracting process of the county. Second, we feel confident that the assessed value of our properties will see an increase over the next 5 years. Third, some of the roads may qualify for crush-shaped 2-inch HMA paving solution, which per the price in the left-hand box is $135,000, not $180,000. But what we didn't want to do, given that it's a 5-year period, we do not want to include this assumption in the worst case plan. Each year, an evaluation will be made as to the most important roads that need to be addressed, which is why we only identify the roads by phases and not by year at this time. From the pages, you can see that Phase 1 encompasses 8 miles of roadway, or 47% of the total. Township roads and the balance appears in Phase 2. Phase 2 also assumes a 15% increase up to $207,000 per mile with the same 3 mitigating factors. Based on that estimate, the millage will need to move to 1.25 mils in the second phase, which outlines the roads on the last page. Since our millage has expired, I strongly urge the board to approve this millage increase to ensure we fix the roads appropriately and minimize the requirements in future years for road maintenance. Bill, if you have any comments to add, please do so.
As you know, Bert Thompson and I have spent a lot of time driving every square inch of this township's responsibility as far as roads are concerned. Average road lifespan, if you do nothing, is 20 years. When you look historically at the last 10 years worth of work that's been done in this township, it's all been done in the last 2 years. So there was a huge gap in there that our roads were aging and things weren't getting done as far as preventative maintenance is concerned. Under this plan, the intent is to not go in and just chip seal or patch a hole and hope it lasts. The intent here is choose the roads that you're going to accomplish from year to year. Address every culvert issue, every drainage issue. If there's a base problem, fix the base problem. If you can just simply crush the existing asphalt that's on there, use that as a new base and pave over it, great. Because there are sections of road here that might only have one culvert in. But let's not do the work and not address everything from the base all the way through the top. This is not a chip seal and throw a new line on it approach. This is a brand new road approach for all 17 plus miles of paved road that are our township taxpayers' responsibility.
Board questions?
Bill, the $85,000 for chip seal, I think the last time we did it was $34,000 a mile. So that's from the county, that number?
Yes, all these numbers are from Antrim County Road Commission.
Okay. My question is, at the end of Golden Beach Drive is Old Mission Estates, which is all county road. It's all dirt now. Why was that not considered for paving if we're going to do this much extension?
That could be considered, Alan, in phase 2. However, for phase 1, we have this millage looming over us that is technically going to expire before we can get this renewed. We tried to keep it exactly apples to apples as to what is paved now, what needs to be kept up on. We kept some reserve money in here to keep up on our existing current dirt roads. If the township wants to take an approach similar to Milton, where they have no more dirt roads to maintain at the end of a millage, then at that point, my suggestion would be in that second tier of phase 2, that we get some community involvement between now and then, and we look at, do we want to adopt that? Do we want to bite off that 5-year big chunk of change and get rid of maintaining gravel roads in this township and have to pave those? But right now, all the roads that are in this plan are mirroring the ones that we are currently taking care of. We're just going to take them to the next level and buy us more years.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, no, I was going to ask how I can get my road out here.
All right, Sharon.
Okay. As treasurer and the person that collects the taxes and sees the tax bills, our current road millage will end with December of this year. So we have been in phases, and we have started out with general fund taking care of the roads some years ago, as Bob alluded to, and it just evolved from there. So I just I also contacted Bert when I heard all the roads and the numbers. And I also contacted Dieter Amos, which is on the road commission, which also lives in our township. Got his opinion and so forth. So, the 1 mil is critical in all their opinions, being on the road commission. So this is up to the voters, for this millage to pass, and I support this road millage because, it isn't getting any easier, and the roads aren't getting any better. So, I think in the newsletters, we can point this out to the public, that it's not technically a renewal in the sense that it's a different millage rate, but it is a renewal of a millage election. So that's the only difference between the two.
All right. Any other comments? If not, Kathy, would you
Would
conduct
this
a
be
roll
in
call
the
vote?
August election?
This will be next year, 2022.
Which election?
Yes.
Would
August?
be,
This is
unless
on-
there's a education, right? Unless there's a millage. For the
If there's a
board and-
special election prior to that, we could put it on there. I don't know.
We're going to monitor it.
We're going to monitor and see when there could be a school elections in May. I don't know that.
This millage runs out in December of this year.
Right.
And so you have March, May, August, November. And,
That's why we're doing the resolution tonight, so that in case the fact that there is a May election, for instance, we can get it on that election if we so choose and decide to do that, or we can go into the August. If it should happen not to pass in August, we have November's also to fall back on to try a second attempt, so.
Kathy, the May elections are education, are they not?
Well, they're considered special elections, and usually they are school-related.
Only,
I don't know about only.
okay.
I just know that it needs to be passed next year, hopefully next year for sure.
All right, Kathy.
Ready?
I think, do we need to read this resolution, Bob?
You tell me. You want to read that?
It's got a lot of whereases.
It's in their board packet, then everybody's seen it then, correct?
They've seen it and we've identified in the motion as resolution 2021-28.
All right. All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, we've got Bob first,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes,
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes,
and myself, yes.
we have it on here too, Kathy.
Yes, I know. So that motion passes 5-0.
Thank you,
So
Bill.
I'm gonna write in here, the motion was made by Cook.
Yep.
And seconded by me.
And all the votes were yes.
Okay. And I'll type this up again for you. Okay.
Again, Bill, thanks for all the hard work. All right, we'll move to item number 7. I make the motion to approve the purchase of Stryker power load equipment for Township Ambulance 88B2 unit. It was formerly 8861 for the sum of $24,279.30, with additional cost of approximately $1,600 for the installation. Approximate total cost of $25,879.30 to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right.
Sorry. Wait, I have that motion is made by Sharon. Do I cross that out?
Yes,
Okay. So it was you, sir?
correct. Sharon seconded it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of Stryker power load equipment for Township Ambulance 88B2 unit, former 8861, for the sum of $24,279.30, with additional costs of approximately $1,600 for the installation cost. Approximate total cost of $25,879.30. Mike, spent a lot of time explaining this one to you. Does the board have any questions on this unit?
What's the status on our other ambulance? When will this power loader be in? And who is the qualified dealer mechanic to install that?
The company choice provided the
Oh, okay.
They'll do it right here.
The other end is over at Sterling right now. And because of the way the two emphasis built, they have to lift the cab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When they lift the cab off, and you're dealing with all the wires for the radio, all the wires for light switches. And so, Bob tried at the light switch. They got these two on this one. That's why we have and they're supposed to start it on
30, yeah.
I'm sure it's going to do that.
So are we going to be without an ambulance then for a couple days?
They take almost 2.5 weeks to come out and do that.
Oh, okay.
And when they do the install, it's small.
Oh.
So what I may do, if, they come out here next week, they may have PAA back a couple too.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or
The
comments?
staff will be elated.
I bet.
All right. Kathy, proceed with the roll call vote, please.
Yes, I will. We've got Alan first,
Yes,
and Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Kathy says yes, Bob,
Yes.
and just to make sure it passes, we've got Alan down here twice. So
Oh,
can he vote twice, or,
hey, it's like Chicago. What can I tell you?
I don't know. I got what was in my packet.
All right, we'll move to item
And then,
number
are
8.
you ordering this, Mike? Are you ordering this?
Yes, it does be around 1 o'clock, 7 tomorrow.
Or am I, you're gonna order, or do you want me to order it? You're gonna order it?
Let me talk to all the I don't know, I have all the contact.
We'll get together, okay? Thank you.
All right, Sharon, you have item number 8.
I do. Well, last month, I pointed out that because it was the end of September, or the middle of September, we didn't want to go by because the board meeting would be after the October 3rd through the 9th. So I wanted to point out that it was Fire Prevention Week. So I kind of give a little diddly about the fire department as I did the ambulance during their ambulance week also. So I'm just going to read. And I did talk to our fire chief ahead of time, and he okayed me to go ahead and list names and so forth at the end of the resolve here. I make the resolve that the week of October 3rd through the 9th as Fire Prevention Week, and the theme this year is Learn the Sounds of Fire Safety. Torch Lake Township Board and the entire community wants to let our fire department team know that they are greatly appreciated for their outstanding service they provide to our citizens. We are proud of the men and women who serve as the fire team. They are a first-class organization, and our best wishes for their constant safety and ongoing training for the upcoming year. Torch Lake Township Fire Department consists of Kevin Lane, Fire Chief, Ted Schroeder, Assistant Chief, Alan Davidson as a Captain. We have Ron Pulaski and Greg Sumrex as Lieutenants. We have Ryan Bigelow, Wendy Davidson, Jeff Dawson, Bob Hawkins, James Hunter, Case Lorenz, Donovan Stone, and Mike Velding as firefighters. I make a motion that we accept this resolve for the firefighter week of October 3rd through the 9th for Torch Lake Township.
I'll second that.
I don't think it needs a roll call. If we can just say aye.
Okay.
Well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And our fire chief is in the back of the room, so
He was.
please let your staff know.
All right, moving to item number 9. I will make the motion to hire Adam Holt as per diem EMT basic with all appropriate background checks already completed, starting October 20th, 2021 for a rate of $13.45 per hour plus $2.50 per diem premium for a total of $15.95. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sharon. Motion's been made and seconded to hire Adam Holt as per diem EMT basic with all appropriate background checks already completed, starting October 20th, 2021 for a rate of $13.45 per hour plus $2.50 per diem premium for a total of $15.95. Any discussion, board? Hearing none. Kathy?
I have some.
Maybe two.
Mike, I totally respect your recommendation. However, I can't read Mr. Hoyt's application. And I've been through it, and I said, at a minimum, I think it ought to be redone. I mean, many of the words here, I can't even recognize what he put down here. And that's disappointing to me, because I'm sure he is okay. If you say he's okay, I'm sure he is. So I just want to put a caution in there. I personally would like to have that redone for the file, for his file, then
I said the same thing too, so,
and say the
but I
same.
didn't want to hold it up for that reason. Please.
Oh, no, I would hire him. Yes, whatever works, yes.
All right.
Thank
The only other comment I have on the other application,
Ellen, we'll get to that.
oh, I
one
haven't got
next.
there, excuse me, go ahead, keep going.
All right.
Yeah.
So no other comment? Kathy, a roll
Is
call
there
vote?
anything, is he a full-time,
No,
part-time?
Per
Thank you.
diem.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, ready then?
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
Kathy, yes. Bob,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes,
and Jason.
Yes.
Approval to hire Mr. Holt,
hot.
is that how you say it?
Mhm.
Passes 5-0.
Ready? All right. Move to item number 10. I'll make the motion to hire Melissa Johnson as EMT paramedic with all appropriate background checks completed, starting October 20th, 2021 for a rate of $21.42 per hour. That includes a $2.50 per diem premium. Is there a second?
I can second that.
Thanks, Kathy.
I could speak.
Melissa comes to us with over 15 years of experience. Mike Bertram has made this recommendation and has already completed the background checks. Do we have any discussions for Mike?
again, I'm looking at the application. Ms. Johnson didn't mention her reasons for leaving in the different positions up here. Her first position was something stat EMS, which I have no idea what STAT, who is that? Okay. Okay.
That's on number 3 there, Alan.
Yeah, I see it. That's why I questioned it. She had been there 10 years and she left, and there could be, I'm sure there's good reasons why she left. But often they would put in why they had left. And then that's my only point. I can read her application pretty much, except for the STAT. I didn't know what that was. Thank you.
There you
All right.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
All right, no further discussion. Kathy?
Okay, I'm first. I say yes. Bob,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon.
Yeah, there's all these yeses. I'm going to add another yes.
It's to say, what do you want to know just because? Or... Yes, this motion passes 5-0.
She came here first before she went to TAA. I should have hung on to her harder, right, Mike? You know. I should have hung on to her a little tighter.
Sharon did. All right, board. Prior to proceeding the last 3 items, I first would like to thank Bill Stridiron, Jerry Kolka, and Cole Schumacher for their services on the Planning Commission. In choosing new people, I followed the previous supervisor, Mr. Martell's comments. He told me that picking people for the planning commission was a very important role as supervisor. Similar to my ZBA nominees who monitored the ZBA meetings over the last couple of months, these individuals had either attended the PC meetings or reviewed the YouTube recordings to ensure they have kept up with all of the discussions of the PC. They will be able to fully participate with the other members with regards to the outstanding issues of the Planning Commission. I believe my choices that follow bring a wide range of professional experience, leadership capabilities, and are both competent and capable of fulfilling the roles they are being appointed for. And with the board approval, will complement the remaining 4 members of the Planning Commission. With that, I will move to item number 11. I make the motion to approve the appointment of Andrew Graves to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission effective November 1, 2021 for a term of 3 years. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sharon. The motion has been moved and seconded to approve the appointment of Andrew Graves to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission effective November 1st, 2021 for a term of 3 years. Discussion, and I will start out. Andrew will be replacing Jerry Coca. Andrew is a resident of Torch Lake Township and grew up in the area. He is a graduate of the University of Michigan with 2 master's degrees. He served in the U.S. Navy as an officer on a nuclear submarine. He worked at GE Capital as a process leader in the Six Sigma program. He helped build a company as chief operating officer. Finally, he served as president of the company, is currently providing consulting services to that firm in their strategy and shareholder relation roles. Andrew has assured me that he will be able to handle both his consulting work and the work of the Planning Commission. Any further discussion or questions?
I have one.
All right.
I know where his very first job was. Right, Andrew?
I give up.
He worked for Eastport Foods,
Ah,
Who owned Eastport Foods?
and he told his children the upbringing of his childhood. What the first job, right, Andy?
it.
She used to.
Any other
Actually, Don
comments?
was.
The only comment I have is, Andy's probably been at many meetings I have since I've been here. So, well informed.
Great. Any others? If not, Kathy, would you
So
please?
does that go from 2021 to 2024, right?
Right,
Okay,
4
thank you.
years. Kathy?
Well, 3 years.
That is.
So Bob is first.
Yes?
Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
and Kathy. Yes. And that motion passes 5-0.
All right, we will move to item number 12. And first off, Phil, I'll apologize. I misspelled your name in the agenda. Snuck an I in there on you.
Can I throw in something real quick?
don't
All
know.
these letters of reference here, not a single one of them have a date on it. Were these emails or?
Yes.
So
And-
somehow can we get dates on all these?
Sure.
For records down the years?
Yeah, I can do that. What I did was rather than, because trying to copy emails and print them off, you sometimes lose the right-hand side.
Right.
So what I did was I copy and pasted them and then put a date on it.
I like dates on everything.
That's fine. I'll get
Thank
dates
you.
for you. All right. I make the motion to approve the appointment of Bill Dvorak to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission for a term of 3 years, effective November 1st, 2021. Do I have a second? Thank you, Jason. The motion has been moved and seconded to approve the appointment of Bill Dvorak to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission for a term of 3 years, effective November 1st, 2021. I will start off the discussion. Bill will be replacing Bill Stridiron. Bill is also a resident of Torch Lake Township and works full-time at a privately owned professional consulting firm. He has extensive real estate experience and in dealing with developers, commercial companies, and architects, and has worked directly with developers to entitle and develop or redevelop property throughout the western part of the country. He also has degrees in economics, engineering, and a master's degree in urban and regional planning. Bill's background will be an asset to the Planning Commission, and he has assured me he will be able to manage both his current work as well as the needs of the Planning Commission. Any discussions?
When you say he's replacing Bill Stradarian, do you mean he becomes chair, or will they vote for
No,
that
just-
themselves?
Just replacing as a
Just
member.
want to make sure.
And I wanted to make sure I would answer the question Alan had at the last meeting with the BBA.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, Kathy, would you start a roll call vote?
I will. Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Kathy, yes, Bob,
Yes.
and that motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, board. All right, we go to item number 13. Make the motion to approve the appointment of Denise Walker to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission for a term of 3 years, effective November 1, 2021. Do I have a second?
I can second that.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yep.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the appointment of Denise Walker to the Torch Lake Township Planning Commission for a term of 3 years, effective November 1, 2021. Denise, you want to raise your hand so the board can see you back there? Denise will be replacing Cole Schumacher. Denise's career has included time in the medical field as a registered nurse and the educational field as a teacher. She has experience in business as an owner and operator of a restaurant. She also worked as a program developer for the College of Education at Michigan State University, specializing in reading. She started a group, the Network of National Board Certified Teachers of Michigan, and continues working with this group. She also started Girls on the Run, a program for young women which focused on building healthy self-esteem through daily running training. In her spare time, she was a mom who supported her daughters in numerous activities. Denise will bring a thoughtful and analytical mind to our Planning Commission. Are there any questions? Hearing none, Kathy, would you proceed with the roll call vote, please?
I will. Jason?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bob?
Yes?
And Alan?
Yes.
Thank you, board.
That motion passes 5-0.
All right, moving on. We have nothing for board discussion this month. Updating day park operations. As mentioned earlier, the day park committee is evaluating new safety measures with a focus on reducing the attendance time at the park to just specific dates. This includes fencing to restrict the access of children running across the road leading into the boat launch area, limiting access to the pier as people continue to jump off the pier into the launch area, and evaluating whether there's an area that could be utilized for the safe launching of kayaks and paddleboards. And that completes that commentary. Moving to the next item, we will have citizen comment. Again, please stay within the 4 minutes. Thank you for that. And Tom, I will recognize you first.
Earlier tonight, Kathy mentioned about the FOIA request for Mr. Bishop, and you talked about redacting. I mean, I don't think we're dealing with national security issues here or anything remotely close to it. Exactly what would you look forward to redacting, and what kind of standards would be used? It sounds like a little bit of overkill. It's just a township thing.
We'll address it in board comment.
Pardon?
I'll address it in board comment for you.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. As mentioned earlier, you may have come in later, we respond to citizen comments and board comments so that we end up not having a continual dialogue. Thank you, Tom.
Jared.
Oh, Charis.
Yeah, as your county commissioner on the Antrim County Road Commission, I just wish that every township had somebody who was as dedicated to the roads as your deputy supervisor back there. If every township had somebody who was paying attention to the roads as well as he does, I think our townships would be in a lot better shape. I would say that our road commission meeting this month, the road commission raised the allocation so by 15% for next year. So Torch Lake Townships was about 24,000 and something last year. This year it'll be about 28,000. The allocation base is determined on miles of road and population in the township. Those are the two factors that come into the allocation. And I asked Bert Thompson about fuel prices going up. When we started in January, the price of gas was under $2 a gallon. Now it's $3.30, $3.40. And asked him if that was going to help our revenue out a little bit. And he said, no. Our Michigan transportation formula is capped. It's a certain amount of cents per gallon. It's not a sales tax. So although there is a sales tax on our fuel, that money actually goes into the education fund for schools. So it doesn't transfer to our road fund. So they approved the budget for the Antrim County Road Commission, and they left it at the same level as it was for last year, because the primary way you get more income is through more gallons of fuel sold, and people are driving more efficient cars and trucks. Even semis are getting more efficient, more miles per gallon, so they don't see a huge increase coming in gallons sold. So they left our budget the same for that. So the allocation for the townships comes out of a earmark which was passed in 2015. It actually comes from income tax. The state set aside $600 million, and Antrim County's portion is about $1 million. So, and then that gets divided up in the formula of miles of roads and population.
All right. Thank you. I saw another hand, Mr. Spencer.
Thank you and good evening. Bob Spencer, 709 Northwest Torch Lake Drive, Keewaydon. I would like to discuss a few things. I think 4 minutes is going to be a challenge for me. The reason I'm here in this commentary tonight is because the board at its last meeting approved some minutes of my 15-minute meeting with the board on the same topic I'm talking about tonight, but it didn't get in the minutes. Basically, it said Bob Spencer's FOIA was discussed. So I'll ask your indulgence. I do have a question about roads. I did not, and I think I know the answer, but I'd like to check. I did not see Northwest Torch Lake Drive nor Barnes Road on the schedule for roads. I know that that is a different kind of road. It may be a county road, but maybe Bill could answer that.
We'll get you an answer.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to respond to my FOIA numbered 556 by our FOIA coordinator. She indicated all FOIAs have been fulfilled. Mine has not. And what I received from through the largesse of the supervisor was 140 pages of responses from my September 15th, 2021 FOIA request. After I made that request, I decided I better send out a letter. And so I did that. Each of you on this board received an email from me, and you also received an email from the clerk. I'm going to hand out a copy. This is a cover of a email Kathy with her FOIA coordinator hat on sent to you dated September 22nd. You can see it's from the clerk, and you can see it went to Bob Spencer and to everybody on the ZBA. And it also went to the supervisor, treasurer, Mr. Merchant, Mr. Martell, Mr. Stridiron on the Planning Commission, Jerry Kulka, Barb Boudros, Laura Carlton, Bob Hawkins, and Cole Shoemaker. So everybody received this packet. In the packet was a copy of my FOIA letter requesting specific things. And that's, Alan, to your earlier question, in that letter it says between the dates of December 1, 2020 and August 31, 2021. And so I tried to narrow the scope of my requests. Kathy included in her mailing a document that you had to fill out. It was an affidavit. I got that back from half of you. I did not get a response, in other words, from, let me just go through the list. I did get a response from Supervisor Cook, from Treasurer Schultz, from Chairperson of the Planning Commission, Mr. Stridiron, from Planning Commissioner Barbara Boudros. I did not get responses from Jason Merchant, Alan Martell, although Alan addressed his situation earlier tonight. I did not get a response from Jerry Kulka, Laura Carleton, Bob Hawkins, or Cole Shoemaker. Now, your policies, and this is what I talked about at the last meeting I went to that did not get in the minutes. I went through your policies with you, and I went through your responsibilities as board members. I went through the oath of office you take as public officials to follow the Constitution of the United States and state of Michigan. And those things are all included. And on that affidavit you sign, what you're signing is, I am following the statutes and Constitution of this federal government in this state of Michigan. So half of you didn't respond. So I did not get a response from my FOIA request. So Kathy, when you say it was all fulfilled, it was not. In fact, you did not send in that affidavit either. And so that kind of surprised me, to tell you the truth. So it's very frustrating for me to be here talking about this, because I've been before this group several times in the last decade talking about exactly the same thing. So I'm not going to beat you up on that. I'm just going to ask you, when will it be when the board starts to respond to these statutory and constitutional requirements that relate to these kinds of issues? Well, thank you for your time. My expectation is you will comply. I will respond. I do expect a full compliance from the people who have not yet responded to Kathy's inquiry about filling out an affidavit. And I'm not going to take you to court. I don't want to take you to court. In fact, I filed my Freedom of Information Act late enough after you approved the minutes of your meeting in which you acted or got it, that I couldn't, even if I wanted to. So let's get it right, folks. Let's build confidence in what we do by doing what we do well. And I will try to help, but I'm also the guy who seems to be most interested in this particular issue, as you well know, because you've heard this speech many times in the last decade. Okay, thank you much.
Thanks, Bob. Any other?
I just had a couple of comments.
You want to please introduce yourself?
My name's Marina Friend. I live at 2065 Royal View in Kuwaitan. I just wanted, just a couple comments as we're going through the agenda. As far as the FOIA stuff, well, maybe I'll just jump ahead. The second thing I was going to bring up is that it's very refreshing that the township is completing and doing a lot of the work that you guys are doing. And I have to commend you guys for doing that. I know you probably don't hear a lot of positivity in this day and age. And so I just thought I would mention that. The first thing that I was going to bring up is with regard to FOIA. You talked about policy with regard to FOIA before in previous meetings. The only thing that I would recommend, Kathy, to you is, like, if you're going to extend it, maybe throw out a date there so that they have an expectation as to when it might be done. That was something that I had done in my previous walk. So maybe that's helpful to you guys, because I know that dates are hard to nail down because of so much information. The third thing that I wanted to recommend is to Alan, with regard to all the FOIA requests that are coming down the pike. The mark of a true leader is to gauge their effectiveness, and I would ask you to kind of self-reflect and see how you are being effective in your position, and maybe think about resigning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Randy?
Again, Randy Bishop with Special Drive, Kuwaitan. After hearing what Kathy said about the FOIA, I maybe misspoke or didn't acknowledge the fact that I had received a response. That is accurate. But again, the response I got with regards to Mr. Martell's phone records had a lot of ambiguity. There was a lot of confusion. Whether or not he would be able to provide those records is in question from the information I received. So specifically, since the township taxpayers are reimbursing folks on this board for their cell phone cell bills, those records should already have been kept or submitted to the township. Now, maybe this needs to be an agenda item that the supervisor and other trustee members might consider bringing up at a next meeting. But if you want to be reimbursed for your cell phone bill, those records should be part of that disbursement. Here's my records, here's the check, we're good to go. because that would eliminate the problem we're having right now on this FOIA request. I know Deb Graber had also requested cell phone records, text messages, and things as well. So those are probably going to be causing, delays in her FOIA requests. So as a suggestion, let's consider talking about that at a future meeting. Make that motion. Let's have that discussion. All I'm asking for is a date certain, because based on the information I believe that will be forthcoming, there could be potential recall actions, and I'm on a time frame in January to get that process started. So here we are at the end of October. We're now going to be heading into the holidays, November, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I need this information as soon as possible. So if you could at least give me an indication of the timeline, and then I can make my decisions accordingly.
I'll address you in those comments in the board comment.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? If not, then we'll move to board comment. I will start with Sharon, please.
I really don't have anything other than all the people we have hired. There are employee packets to be picked up and completed. And don't forget the need oath of office taken before your next board meeting. So for those that are on the ZBA and Planning Commission, oath of office needs to be taken, and a packet to be picked up for employment. And then also for the 2 employees, and get all that packets ready. Okay.
And I think Virginia has the packet, so.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Virginia has the packet,
So they've got yours
if
for
you want to pick
Andrew.
up your packet, if you're here, pick up your packet from Virginia in the back, and get all the paperwork in ASAP. Thank you.
All right, Ellen, any comments?
I guess I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but I guess I will. We had a conference meeting, I want to say toward the beginning of the summer, in which Steve Longworthy, the consultant that was hired to be present and help us with the application to rezone the airport from residential to commercial, put a workshop on for us. The board was there, the planning commission was there, I think CBA members were there. And it was a very, very good. Steve was an extremely accomplished man with regard to planning. And in there, in his documents, you can look them up if you save them, was a whole set of things to consider for a rezoning. They're very good. They're very well stated. So I looked at that and I said, okay, this gives us some kind of grounds for any kind of rezoning. When you rezone a property in this township, it's pretty well there for a long, long time, if not forever. Many of the zonings that we have right now in this township started in 1983 when zoning first came into effect. When we had 2 rezoning appeals. We had the zoning appeal on M88 to change a village residential property to a village business property. And then we had the airport appeal to rezone the residential property of the airport, 100 acres or so, into commercial. Once a rezoning is done, as our zoning ordinance reads, you can say I'm going to build a very pretty house or hotel or retail store that'll blend with the community, be surrounded by trees, and you won't hear a thing. Once it's approved, according to our ordinance, there's a number of things in that ordinance that says you can do by right. You can change your mind. And the subsequent owner who buys that property can change their mind and do as they want to. There are things in there that require what is called a special use permit. And in a special use permit, the Planning Commission has an opportunity to set conditions for that particular kind of use, whether it be in commercial or agriculture or other places. So we were faced with 2 rezoning issues. When there was a lot of confusion at the meeting of the Planning Commission when they considered M88. with regard to how the process would go forth. 3 members of the planning commission came to this board, and I want to, was it June that we approved that? I don't remember. I forgot the date. 3 members of the planning commission said, we want that to come back to us. We want to relook at what we did, because they were not in agreement with the approval that they had done. What had happened was that the zoning administrator came in with 9 criteria and said, here's what you're going to use to decide whether or not this M88 rezoning is okay. When I heard that myself personally, I said, where'd that come from? I mean, our zoning administrator is not the zoning ordinance. And we don't have any criteria in the zoning ordinance with regard to a rezoning, which I think is important. And Steve Longworthy had said that to us at that meeting prior. And other people also raised the same question. That's why the planning commission members came back and said, we want to relook at this. You know, we've got to make sure, because any criteria that you use for M88, you've got to use for any other rezoning in this township, or you definitely are going to be in some kind of conflict, probably legally. So that raised the question about we need to put the brakes on this. We need to relook at it, and we need to I'm not saying anything about the pros or cons or the good or bad of M88, but we need to take a look at what is our criteria when we rezone property in this township, and how will we do it and how will we decide. And so a petition was passed, and 179 people signed that petition. And I think there were about 8 or 9 people that put that petition out there to put it on the ballot. Any zoning change can be put on the ballot if you have enough signatures for a vote of the people. It doesn't take away the decision, because the people can decide and say, you know, we agree with the board who passed this that night. We agree with the board. We think that was okay. Or they can say, no, we think that there ought to be other steps to be taken. And that's what this will amount to. Every zoning change can be put to a vote of the people if you're willing to go and get a petition for it. And of course, you're going to have a campaign on that. And that campaign will have an argument back and forth with regard to how it works. So that's where it's at now. 179 names were turned in. One thing I want to say to the board, comments from the people that passed that petition, they were so well received by this community. People wanted to talk. They wanted to talk about the township, what was going on, what happened on M88. The big question, of course, was the airport. Many people asked about the airport. And we explained that, you know, that airport rezoning, we now probably, I don't know if even using those 9 criteria would have been legal or not, since they're not part of the zoning ordinance. That was the question that was raised. And that's a serious question. So this is what prompted that action. It's not an action against what the request was on M88. The response was we did not have this set in a way that we could do it in a consistent way as it happens now or in the future or from other appeals. That night, I explained to the board what my concern was when they passed that. I went through that and I said, this criteria came out of blue sky. I don't know where. In the turn, Bob had put his motion out, and he had a whole list of reasons why this should be okay. Sharon said we need more businesses in Eastport, and that may be good. That may yes or no. I don't know that, but Eastport has not had a lot of businesses, nor has Torch Lake Village. When we look at the village zoning, I would suggest we need to relook at that zoning, see if indeed we want to have that kind of zoning, village zoning. Village zoning basically has the idea of having businesses and homes right next to one another, sometimes right with each other in that area. I don't know if that fits anymore. It works in Elk Rapids. There's apartments above the stores there, and it works in that kind of a setting. But my point is that the board passed it, and they passed it, and that's what prompted the idea that maybe we should look into this deeper and give the people of the township an opportunity to make a decision on this. In the meantime, between now and whenever that might occur, there'll be a lot of discussion. And maybe at that point, we'll have cleared it up and cleaned it up. And what we will do will be okay for everybody involved, including the applicants.
Thank you, Alan. Jason?
Sure. With all due respect, Alan, I was actually at that planning commission meeting. There was no confusion. We sat and we talked through each criteria for quite a while and talked all about it. And we weighed the pros and cons and we passed it. Now, you just said that Steve Langworth, you just said we didn't have any criteria to pass it on, but Steve Langworth, he says having some is important. So a company that we hired, a professional company, Beckett and Radar, came up with these criteria. There's no confusion. We talked about them and we voted on it and we passed it. As far as the petitions that are being sent out there, 3 of them were from the planning commission board members and another one was from you.
Yes.
Passing out this petition. You're right. You have 179, 180 signatures, something like that. But I got 4 people that I know of that are dying to come in here and tell you that they signed something that they didn't know what they were signing, including one of yours. Absolutely. So I don't even know why you went to where you went to today. I thought maybe we were past that, but I feel like you guys should all know that there was absolutely no confusion when we passed that.
Thank you, Jason. Kathy? Sure.
I really look forward to working with the new members of the planning commission because this last month and a half has been pretty crazy. And I look forward to a breath of fresh air.
Thanks, Jason.
In terms of FOIA things, in response to Marina, when I send out my response, well, the extension, when there's a request for an extension, there's a place to put on there when you think you'll be able to fulfill. The township's not held to that like by law, but you give a guesstimate. In regards to Randy's portion of the FOIA, I had no idea that we were going to receive that kind of response from IT Right. I'm amazed that our tech company can come up with 20,000 emails. And so I think we've got that base covered in terms of letting our applicants know if we're not fulfilling your response now, your request, I'm sorry, now, then this is when we hope to get it fulfilled. And I know when I put dates on those that I had no idea how much this was going to take, especially, well, and Alan's phone records as well. So I think I've got a good grasp of FOIA. I apologize to Mr. Spencer because I believe some of the material that went to you, well, I've been out of the office for the last 2 weeks, and I know that we had started piles of affidavits to go to, but I'm not sure if you got the packet that I had completed for my portion. I know I didn't fill out an affidavit. I put the paper in there to remind myself to fill out an affidavit, but I know I did not fill it out yet, if you will. So I'm still trying to catch up in terms of where we are with all these FOIAs that have basically, what we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that came in that are all difficult, to say the least. Let's see. Maybe we need to revisit the cell phone reimbursement that we receive. It's not just for the board, it's for the fire chief, the EMS directors, our Amy. Okay, does he get a reimbursement? Okay, take him off the list, sorry. The reimbursement, what I'm trying to say is the reimbursement is not just for 5 board members. There are others who also get a reimbursement. And at the time we set that up as a benefit, if you will, we discussed that it's difficult to, if I'm making a phone call on my cell phone, I'm not documenting that it's business or not business. If we need to be that technical about it, I guess we need to relook at our policy about cell phone use and why, and the reimbursement of it. I think there's something else. I wrote board, but I don't know what I meant, so,
All right.
okay.
All right. First item for me will be Bob. We'll do our best. I'm thinking of a couple of different approaches to improve our process on FOIAs. I reserve the right to work with the clerk, who's currently our FOIA coordinator, to see if we can implement any of them. But my goal is to make sure that this stuff gets fixed. Mr. Bishop, I think there was one item, and that was the phones, and it will be on the next agenda. My comments, as you know, as supervisor, I seem to get a lot of help in doing my job. And so I have 3 points tonight. First, I have received input from people who are concerned with the petition that was circulated regarding the M88 rezoning action passed by the Planning Commission and the Township Board. In many cases, there seemed to be a misrepresentation of the petition's intent, at least in the minds of some of the signers. This referendum relates only to the M88 property and not to any other property currently being evaluated for a zoning change. I have sent the petition to our township attorney to verify whether or not the petitions meet all the requirements as stated in the law. According to statute MCLA 168.485, and Ellen, you can write that down, questions submitted to electors form, I will read it. I will read the first part that pertains to this. A question submitted to the electors of this state or the electors of a subdivision of this state shall, to the extent that it will not confuse the electorate, be worded so that a yes vote will be a vote in favor of the subject matter of the proposal or issue, and a no vote will be a vote against the subject matter of the proposal or the issue. The language of the petition does not meet the requirements, since it does not say a yes vote or a no vote either approves or disapproves the approval or rejection of the board's action. If that isn't confusing to you, it is certainly confusing to me. I will work with our clerk and the Antrim County Clerk as to our ability to reject or accept the wording as presented on the petition. Also, a number of our citizens believe that action should be taken against the canvassers for the misrepresentations. To those individuals who ask how that is accomplished, Todd explained all violations of the election statutes are either misdemeanors or felonies. And the law states that prosecutors are obligated to prosecute violations. Therefore, those people that wish to initiate such actions need to contact the Antrim County Prosecutor's Office. Finally, those who feel that they signed a petition that was misrepresented to them can contact the clerk's office by sending in a signed letter identifying themselves, their address, and what was presented to them, and that is a reason for the fact that they would like their name removed from the petition. Second point, FOIA information. This pertains to Alan. I and the clerk will need from you by the end of this week, October 22nd, 2021, written verification from your phone provider as to when they will provide the phone log required under FOIA number 561 from Randy Bishop. You indicated a 30-day period, and that is up on Friday, and that's what we spoke about before the meeting. Well, then you need to provide us the date, but but by the end of this week. We need something in writing. Well, I need something in writing from them that states that so that I can present it to Mr. Bishop. IT Right will be sending your email files shortly, and I will work with our FOIA coordinator in order to pull out all communications from the township's legal counsel or other legal counsel utilized by the township. That is at the direction of our township attorney. In discussions with our township attorney, since you utilize the township computer extensively for your personal email and internet traffic, all items are subject to the FOIA. You will be allowed then to review the remaining emails with Kathy and I in attendance to review items that may be of a purely personal nature, i.e. medical information, and have nothing to do with the township. Kathy and I will determine if they should be removed with oversight by our attorney. We will then explain to Randy any specific personal information approved by our attorney as exceptions under the FOIA law and release the other emails to him. Again, since you utilize the township's computer for your personal email and internet traffic, all items are subject to the FOIA except those of a personal nature that Kathy, myself, and our attorney agree with. My third point, early November will be a very busy month for the Planning Commission. They will need to review the material regarding the moratorium, and the board will need to enact the 30-day extension for that moratorium. Sarah will be sending all the materials to the new board members for them to review during these latter days of October. With that, I motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Yes, sir.